Well, hey everybody. We are going to get started with the 5-3 notes, and this is part one of 5-3. And fun fact, this is my second time trying to make this video. I already did the whole notes one time, and then after I finished, I realized I was not recording the right thing. And so now I'm getting to do it all over again. So, yay, this is fun. Okay, but it'll be all good. So in our Google Meet today, I talked about how chapter 5 and the rest of chapter 5 is how do we solve a quadratic equation? Because a quadratic equation cannot be solved using the same methods that you've learned for solving linear equations. And one of the methods that we're going to talk about, and the one that we're going to do today, is solving by graphing. Solving by graphing. So if I wanted to solve the equation x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 0, what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve it by finding the zeros of the function. So this is a new idea that we have, the zeros of a function. This is something that you need to know, and it's going to come up again and again and again, not only for the rest of Algebra 2, but also in later math classes, the zeros of a function. So the zeros of a function are the x values that make y slash f of x, right? Because those are the same thing. So the x values that make y equal 0. In other words, we're looking for the x-intercepts. So with a parabola, if I draw a parabola, these points right here are what I would call the zeros of a function. So the x-intercept and a 0 are the same thing. So to solve this, we are going to find the zeros of f of x equals x squared plus 4x plus 3. And we're going to do it by creating a graph of this parabola to determine where it equals 0. And here are our steps. There's 3 steps. Step one is to find the vertex. So one of the things that you need to have memorized is the vertex formula. X equals negative b over 2a. You need to know it. So let's find the vertex of this function. I need to figure out what my a, b, and c are. A is 1 in this case, b is 4, and c is 3. So now I'm going to take those numbers and plug it into my formula. X equals negative b over 2a, which means I have negative 4 over 2 times 1, which gives me negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. So that's only the x value of my vertex. I need to know the y value, which means I'm going to plug 2 in for x. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to change it to 2. I'm sorry, negative 2. I want f of negative 2. So negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 2 is a negative 8 plus 3. 4 minus 8 plus 3. 4 minus 8 plus 3 is negative 1. So that means my vertex is negative 2, negative 1. So I did step 1. I found the vertex. Step 2 is to make a table with the vertex in the middle. Because guess what? The vertex is the middle of every parabola, so we want the vertex to be in the middle. So here's how I'm going to make my table. I'm going to have x, and I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. And I have f of x, or my y values there. And I'm going to put the vertex in that middle spot, negative 2, negative 1. And now I'm going to pick numbers on either side of negative 2. So if I go one way, I have negative 1 and 0, not negative 0. And on the other side of negative 2, I have negative 3 and negative 4. Now, the nice thing about a parabola is that the left side and the right side of the vertex are the same. So that means whatever I get for when x is negative 4, I'm going to get the same thing for when x is 0. And whatever I get for negative 3, I'm going to get the same thing for negative 1. So if I have to choose between negative 4 and 0, I'm going to choose f of 0. So let's do that. F of 0. Where's my equation? Here's my equation. X squared plus 4x plus 3. So I'm going to have 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 3. Well, 0 plus 0 plus 3 is 3. So since I have 3 here, I also have 3 here. Same thing's going to happen with negative 3 and negative 1. It doesn't matter which one we choose. I like choosing numbers that are closer to 0 if I have the choice. But again, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to do f of negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. That's a minus 4 plus 3. 1 minus 4 is negative 3, and negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Hey, we like that. Guess what? We just found the zeros of the function because what did we say the definition of a 0 is? It's an x value that makes y, or f of x, equals 0. And look at f of x is equal to 0 when x is negative 3 and when x is negative 1. And step 3 is to make our graph here. Now, when I make my graph, I'm very strategic. I mean, look at my x values. Negative 4 to 0. I'm choosing mostly negative x values. Let's look at my y values. I go from negative 1 up to 3. So I don't need to, I can be strategic about how I make my x and y axis. I like to start with my vertex. So there's my vertex, negative 2, negative 1. And then I work out 1 point at a time on the left and the right. So I'm going to have negative 3, 0 and negative 1, 0. And then I have 0, 3 and 4, 3. And there's my beautiful little parabola. Isn't that so cute? It's so nice. It's lovely. And what did we find? Where are our x-intercepts? Right here at negative 3 and negative 1. So my solutions are, so f of x has zeros at x equals negative 1 and x equals negative 3. And that's going to be our answer. All right, let's try another example. Just one more. Make sure you guys got the idea. All right, example 2. Find the zeros of g of x equals negative x squared plus 5x minus 6. Let me just... All right, let's recap what our steps are. Step 1 is to find the vertex, where we're going to use our formula, negative b over 2a. Step 2 is to make the table with the vertex in the middle. Step 3 is to graph. Okay, so step 1, let's find our vertex. Let's identify A, B, and C. So in this case, A is negative 1, which that tells me my parabola is going to open downward. It's going to be upside down parabola. B is 5, and C is negative 6. Okay, so negative b over 2a. I'm going to have negative 5 over 2 times negative 1, which gives me negative 5 over negative 2, which is a positive 2.5. So let's plug in 2.5 for x. That's g, not f. G of 2.5 All right, I'm just going to punch this all right into the calculator. So I have negative 2.5 squared plus 5 times 2.5 minus 6, which gives me 0.25. So that means my vertex is 2.5, 0.25. All right, step 2 is to make the table. Remember, I'm going to give myself 5 rows at least, and I'm going to put my vertex in the middle row, so I can build out to the right and to the left from the center of the parabola. Now, what numbers are on either side of 2.5? 2 and 3, and 1 and 4. All right, again, I like to choose numbers that are closer to 0 if I have an option to. So I'm going to do g of 1. So I'm going to have negative 1 squared plus 5 times 1 minus 6. All right, so that gives me negative 1 plus 5 minus 6. Negative 1 plus 5 is 4. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So since g of 1 is negative 2, that means g of 4 is also negative 2. G of 2, negative 2 squared plus 5 times 2 minus 6. That gives me negative 4 plus 10 minus 6. Negative 4 plus 10 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. That means g of 3 is also 0, which means we found our zeros. So last step is to make your graph. And again, when I make my chart, I'm going to pay attention to what my x and y values are. Look at, I only use positive y values, and my y values really don't get that big. I mean, my maximum y value is 0.25. So I'm going to have positive x's and mostly negative y's. So I'm being strategic about how I'm making my graph. And again, I like to start with the vertex. So 2.5, 0.25. 2.5, 0.25. That's going to be between 2 and 3, and then just above the x-axis. Then I have 2, 0, and 3, 0, which are my x-intercepts, or zeros. And then I have 1, -2, and 4, -2. So then I would say the zeros of g of x are x equals 2 and x equals 3. So what does that mean? That means if I had the equation negative x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals 0, that means the solutions are x equals 2 and 3. If I replace x with 2 or 3, this equation is going to work out to be true. And obviously, graphing is not the most efficient method, okay? So we like to show you the hard way of doing things first, and then we'll show you the easy way to do things. It's important that you understand what the zeros of a function are and how it connects to the other methods. I think you have 6 homework problems, but check Google Classroom so you know exactly what homework problems to do.